Hello and welcome to the second part in my, I think this will be a three-part series on social media advertising basics. These are really the fundamentals. And if you missed part one, I gave a very general overview, a big background um, of how advertising has worked. Now I've moved over from, talk about one thing of the social media advertising continuum, which is campaigns and boosts. And I want to talk about a step that you do in both of them. That is targeting. So, targeting an audience is, I would argue, maybe the most important part of social media advertising success. And you can do it in three ways. All of the social networks use the same three basic targeting variations. Your first is demographic information. Those are facts about your audience. If you think about yourself, right? Your demographics are your age, where you live, the kind of money you make. It's very kind of it's information that's pretty easy to find, I should say. Income, it's more that's a little bit more of an estimation, but a lot of times, like for example, you have to report your income to the credit bureau. So there are some people that know. Um, but yeah, demographic information is just actual facts about people. Then you have interests, and that is what you like. Um, this is where you look at people's search history. And if they were to search, for example, I'm trying to think of something like if you were trying to buy a pickleball racket and you searched, um, best pickleball racket, best cheap or best affordable pickleball racket, right? Suddenly Google and Meta and all these other companies are going to think, up, they're in the market for a pickleball racket. Let's start delivering them pickleball ads. Um, and we've all seen this phenomenon take shape where you search something and then a couple of days later you start seeing ads that relate to that search. Right? That is not a coincidence. That is an interest that is emerging in this online profile that exists about you. Then we have behaviors. These are things that you've actually done. Now, if you figure 90% of demographic information is factual and largely public information, interests are based on actions that you take online, specifically with search or how you interact with other social media accounts. Behaviors are kind of a mix of both. On one hand, they are factual things like you bought a home. That is a fact, right? That is pretty standard. Or if you went to a website, a specific website, that is a behavior. You did something. Interests do not necessarily mean a behavior. It's just that you've shown an interest in something. Behaviors differ because they are a little bit more concrete. Um, there are thousands of behaviors and interests available to advertisers, and they can mix and match any that they like. And when you get to the end of your target audience, you can really narrow down your audience. And when you do that, it allows you to customize and create individual ads that feel like they are speaking directly to the person, really in a one on one setting. We've all seen the ad where you'll see somebody talking or you'll see text and you think, wow, that is like exactly what I'm going through, or that's exactly what I want. That's not a coincidence. It's because they have narrowed down their audience so far, so narrowly that they can find you. If you want to see this in action, you can really you can actually click on the little three buttons at the top of Meta, or you can click on a button on LinkedIn that says exactly why you're seeing an ad. If you do that, you can see, um, you can hide it, you can report it, you can save it if you really like it, and do other things. But as you can see on the right side with LinkedIn, it shows you exactly what the targeting criteria was for you to land in this audience. So I took a screenshot of a company called CB Insights. It's I don't know, some business research company, and I looked at, okay, what is it that they want? Oh, they want members who with a similar company size as my employer, which is Wayne State. They want to reach members who are in an industry like mine, which is education and marketing. And they want to reach people on LinkedIn whose job functions are like mine. So probably marketing director or teaching, I guess. It can go either way. And so it becomes interesting for me, at least as a consumer, because I can see what exactly is being searched, what exactly advertisers want out of somebody like me. So I recommend checking this out sometime. Now, when it comes to ads, you can create an audience by targeting, but then you also need to come up with ad goals. You may see in the other presentation that I've shared, the goals are often the same in terms of what you want people to do. You go to the website, you might just be looking for the most views. But this really, I mean, if you look at social media advertising, there's a lot of different goals that are often made available to you. They can be boiled down to three. Let's start from the bottom of this list. One is impressions. You just want as many views as possible. Think about political campaigns. Think about media websites. They just want views that they can sell to advertisers. Second, you want clicks. Now that's just people on your website. That is different from impressions, because impressions is just people seeing the ad. Clicks is people actually clicking through to the website. This is really critical for companies that are just looking for more eyes on not the ad, but the content that it links to. So again, the news publications are a big one here. But it does not necessarily mean that you need them to do anything once they're there. You just want them as a visitor for your analytics. Because finally, the big one is revenue or conversions, and that is a business action. A revenue is obviously making a purchase online. Conversions, more in the B2B space, would be fill out a form so that they can call you and schedule a demo. That top one is absolutely the hardest one to do. It requires more steps. It requires more creative messaging. And you also need to think deeply about your personas, the people that you're targeting, and how you can get them not just to look at the ad, not just to click through the ad, but how to do all that and then say, I want this product or service, and then take a converting action from there. Each one of these goals is going to have a different way to measure. And so if you pick the wrong one for your business, you're going to probably not like the results. So it's really critical that you really determine your goals up front. What is the point of this ad? And usually this. Usually if you are like a business, if you're just like an advertising person, let's say you're head of paid social somewhere, you're usually told what the goal is up front. But if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur and you're running ads, you want to grow your own business, you need to really think about what that goal is. You'll always want to say revenue or conversions, but is that really the goal up front? Do you have the infrastructure on your website to do all of this? It really is a challenge, because if you've never done this before, a lot of times it's kind of just trial and error. But as long as you have the right goals and you know what to measure along with them, right? So impressions, you would measure impressions, clicks, maybe a cost per click. Revenue and conversions are obviously those. If you're looking, say if you set a goal that's impressions, but your KPI is clicks, right? Those are not going to mesh, and you're not going to get good results. So make sure that you have a consistent strategy from start to finish. You know what you're looking for, and that you design your ad to match. And the elements of a social media ad we're going to look at next in this in the third final video. We will start there. And again, we have one more here in this actual series of videos here on social media advertising.